Straight run up.
Now he angles it somewhat. Barkadash.
Where do I start? It's been up and down.
I remember being a kid.
I can see that happening.
That's always something to do. The Unlaced.
Unlaced podcast. It's actually not bad.
And we're live. We're back. Second episode of the Unlaced podcast for 2022. Before we jump into this episode, I just want to give a big shout out to episode 1 of the year, which was released last week with the 3 Melbourne Storm legends, Kenny Bromwich, Jerome Hughes, Ryan Pappenhausen, and my good friend Shandor Earl. That was a belter of an episode. I'm not going to lie. We spoke about some pretty cool stuff regarding Melbourne Storm and the NRL, but more so around the cryptocurrency space and the NFT space, which those boys are just dominating, releasing their latest NFT. So if this is the first episode you're tuning into this year, get back on that one. Check it out because it was a ripper. I absolutely loved having that chat. And yeah, it just couldn't have gone any better. So moving on to a very special guest and a very special friend of mine. Second appearance on the Unlaced podcast is the entrepreneur, business mogul, content creator king, Tommy Sheridan.
Jeez, you've downgraded from last week, mate. Some of the biggest names in Melbourne, they get the worst.
Yeah, that's right, mate. The train.
It's good to be here, mate.
It's good, mate.
To be back in studio.
It is, mate. It is. You're good to be back home for you a little bit, I guess. You're back in Melbourne.
I feel settled. Someone asked me, actually, I was calling someone on the way here. Yes, where the fuck are you at the moment? I said, mate, I'm in Melbourne. I'm living here now, so it's good. It's a pearl of day out there. So
yeah, it's a belter, mate. It's a belter to get out the beach, but we're in here. But mate, post New Year, what's been happening for you? Because I feel like your life's been pretty full on, mate. You've been Noosa, Bucks parties, running businesses. Like, mate, are you keeping your head above water?
I don't know about you, mate. These Bucks parties aren't healthy. Can you say no to a Bucks party?
Not morally, no.
Oh, gee, yeah, you can't, and you can't not perform. Which is what happened at one of them. We went to speaking of Bucks parties, mate. One of my good mates, Gom, he's getting married soon, and we went to the races out at Yarra Glen, I think it was, and it was 35 degrees heat.
Jeez.
But we went out the night before as well. And I think
so this is day 2?
This is the night we caught up for a beer at Middle Park.
So wait, let's explain this, because when we caught up, you were rolling in for it was supposed to be a friendly dinner.
Yeah, a get together. Boys are flying in from.
Then the next day was Saturday, which was the main day, the main crack.
Yeah, the first night fever kicked in, mate.
Oh, it always happens,
mate. You're gonna go hard tonight. I said, no chance.
Oh, it always happens. You can't.
Oh, we had a monster, and then mate, the next day, 35 degrees. I reckon I had very little sleep, and it was a tough day at the Yarra Glen races, mate. It was so hot.
Oh, my God.
Fucking hell. So, yeah, that Bucks party ruined me. So I took off to Noosa with mum and dad, and we went there they're actually just getting back today, but we had a little family holiday, a little cleanse, R&R, and then back for another Bucks party last Saturday.
Oh,
so
God.
This weekend, Gorm was really, really chill, mate.
Wasn't there was footage on one of your stories of, like, running races or something, and it looked to be like a serious concussion of some sort to one of the blokes on the Bucks or something.
Well, our Buck I think he had heat stroke, mate. We were pouring cold water, and I think he had too many beers early. He was gone. But what they did was they organised. There was about 10 Bucks parties and hens parties, I think, going on, and they organised a sprint.
Yeah.
And they lined all the people that are obviously getting married up. And
is this like, have you guys just created this at the races?
No,
or
someone else has, and I've seen it, and I'll go, this is going to be full on. It was a good 80-metre sprint, maybe 100. We'll call it 100.
Hamstring territory.
Yeah, hammies, knees, you what. Anyway, I'm watching this guy. He's dressed up in Collingwood outfit. And I've actually got the footage, so I'll flick it to you.
Oh, please do.
Mate, anyway, they're going, on your mark, set, go, and bodies and arms are flying everywhere. And this bloke's like, you know when you're trying too hard, you over-rotate? And he's over-rotated, and he's hit his head on the ground, and the bloke behind him's trying to jump in the air and hurdle him. And as he's going to hurdle him, he's landed on his temple and just squished his head into the ground.
Oh,
anyway,
God.
And we didn't really see it. And because I filmed it, I was like, what's this bloke's carrying on a bit, isn't he? Like, he's only, like, if you've done a hammy, he's on the ground for a good 5 minutes, right?
Oh, so he's gone.
I go, geez. Anyway, everyone's getting around him. And then he slowly makes his way back to his feet. And everyone was quite glad. I thought he literally did his hammy off the bone. I've looked at the footage. He has been seriously concussed, mate.
Oh, so he's concussed.
The bloke behind him has stood on his head like, I'll have to send it to you. So big shout out to anyone that organises them. They are a great laugh.
Yeah.
I will not be taking part in it.
Yeah, I know. You need a few weeks after him. I had a couple in December, and yeah, they're made. I tell you what, friendships are made for a lifetime on them, though.
They are. And then the weddings, the wedding's coming up. That'll be great. Fun,
Yeah,
just
it's
to
like a
reconnect
reunion.
and be honest, like, you don't want to see a couple of beer. Yeah. Hello, mate. How are you?
Bloke should have come with a bandage around his head. Yeah,
Yeah.
boys, it's still sore.
Yeah, I don't think that bloke. I think that bloke with the Collingwood outfit here, he can cast. He won't wait the wedding. Spit that out.
Now, for those who follow you, if you're not following Tommy Sheridan, he's a great follow on Instagram, full of life. Tell you what, he's posted a couple photos the last few days that just make me laugh on his story. But he put up a question to the people, which I'm interested to see how it's going, given you've come back to Melbourne now, you're settling here, you're house hunting.
Yeah, I am.
How does a bloke in his mid to late 20s house hunt in Melbourne, and you threw it out to your followers? Where should I live?
Yeah, I did. I just want to know. I grew up in Melbourne. And obviously went to Freo when I was 18, literally fresh 18. I was there for 7 years, went to Sydney for 2. Then last year, I was not home. I was in Perth for 6 months and Gold Coast for probably 2.
Yeah.
And I never really moved anywhere. I was with my mate, just locally. So looking to actually get right in the thick of it. I don't actually know where the best spot for someone 28, single, working, quite, as you said, entrepreneurial and want to be in the hustle and bustle.
Yeah.
Like last week I did 2 tanks of fuel, just catching up with blokes like you and everyone else. Because I'm living at, Northwest. So, yeah, I put it up and everyone was saying South Melbourne, South Yarra. Some really funny comments on there.
Oh, that's
man.
good. Yeah, I remember, I think someone said, mate, nowhere or something, like head back to Perth or
someone
something.
said, nowhere, get the fuck out of Melbourne.
Yeah, there you
I
go.
said, thanks for your assistance, mate.
Hostile.
Very funny.
Wait, well, the listeners, come on, give us a comment on this podcast. Where should Tommy live? Maybe if we get a percentage vote going, maybe the bloke just has to live there. Let's put him in the stick somewhere. But as I touched on, you've always had a pretty fast-paced life. And you've always got a lot of moving pieces, particularly now. But given you're probably in a space now, you've come out of footy. What was it? Is it 2 years now or a year?
This will be my second year out.
Second season. So last season was your first season out.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Was that actually last year? Was that tough? Or were you ready when you came out?
Mate, it was really hard actually. I struggled a bit, and it was a year of struggle for probably a lot of people. But I wasn't settled at all.
Yeah.
I was on the road. I had a few commitments in Perth, and because of these border restrictions, as we know, I had to make certain decisions. And I ended up staying in Queensland for a month because Melbourne locked down, and I couldn't get to Perth via Melbourne, but I could from Queensland. So I ended up staying in Queensland and just, mate, hopping around. I got a few favours. I hope I make it one day, mate, because I owe about 15 blokes rent. They could just come stay at my apartment. I was staying in so many people's houses. Ticked off Byron, which was good. But yeah, then I was in Perth for what was meant to be a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Obviously with the sunglasses brand, we had our samples arriving, and I had to approve and see them in person. And then Melbourne went into a little lockdown. Sorry, Perth went into a 5-day lockdown. That stopped me from coming home. Then Melbourne went into a lockdown, and that just extended. And as we know, we won't talk about it too much. But I was told, don't come back yet because we're actually locked up. So I ended up staying in Perth for, I think it was just under 6 months. And
not like you didn't plan on doing that.
No, and that was the hardest part. I kept like, one more week.
Oh,
And in my head, it was like, I'm so lucky. Like everyone out there that looked after me, and I stayed at their house. They know who they were, but it was hard, man. Like no car for ages, like borrowing cars, like mates' cars. They didn't need it, but just that whole process of asking and all that.
Oh, it's awful.
And it was a bit grim like that, but Perth is small. You can get around. And mate, probably miss the connection piece, like the people. Like I'm a big people person.
Yeah.
I was working a lot in isolation. Like whether it doesn't matter where you're working. Like with my role with the Sunny stuff before I launched all the other stuff I just did, but it's very much in isolation, and you're working with a lot of freelancers and people in your team, but you can work online and on Zoom. It's just not your
jam. You like getting out and about and meeting people face to face.
I like the relationship stuff.
Yeah. You have a big tab of coffees by the end of the week, don't you? That bill.
Mate, big tab.
Big tab of coffees.
In fact, the lady in I was staying at Grifflogs and Tabs' house a fair bit, and they had a little cafe down there, had Wi-Fi. The lady knew my order and everything with him. Like,
there you go.
You're back again. I used to go there when I was bored.
I heard him on the phone today, people. Actually, he was ordering breakfast at a cafe, and he wasn't complaining, but he was asking, they wanted strawberries on something. There were no strawberries. Oh, just give me the raspberries. Like, it was just like routine cafe chat.
Oh, yeah, the old, the Bircher muesli with extra strawberries.
They didn't have them.
Why not?
Criminal. Well, Perth's like a bit of a second home for you, though. Like, as much as you were I mean, not held hostage, but like you couldn't really leave, could you, logistically, to come home?
I could and I couldn't. Like I could, but it meant I would be locked up, which is again.
So yeah, the choice was to come and tenfold of what you were doing there, not move.
Yeah, and I got a lot of stuff done. I did. Perth was very good, and it got even better. Like the back end of it was amazing.
Yeah, the summer.
Yeah, the grand final was there.
Oh, of course.
So I was catching up with heaps of boys coming in and out when they were allowed out. Yeah, I got to see a lot of old teammates. Like the Giants finished their season there. Jumped on their Mad Monday. Organised that with someone.
You organised
I just helped out a little bit.
Yeah, well, if it's in Perth, it makes sense to call in Traino for that.
Helped out with that, but it was unreal to see a few of them boys.
Yeah.
And then obviously, as you know, like in season, the boys are really professional, obviously, and their time's consumed with training and whatnot. So once the season was done, could catch up properly.
Yeah.
With even the local boys. At Freo there, and yeah, we had some fun at the end of the year. It was good,
mate. I wanted to revisit the. I think we might have touched on this last time, but it's just fascinating for me because you obviously grew up in Melbourne, elite footy player. You went as sort of a relatively high draft pick, but there's like always that stigma in AFL, which is interesting to me because Australia's a beautiful place, but like when you get drafted out of your home state. Was that like back then? Was that a big thing? Like for you now, do you look back at it and like you're glad you kind of got out, or you got to visit somewhere else? And
100%. I think getting out of your comfort zone is hard. I was kind of forced, and then the people that you meet along the way to be able to do what I did, even just to be able to go to Perth and just roll into cafes or just obviously you met a lot of people through the footy circles and just catch up with people, and a lot of people have moved into different roles, build relationships.
Yeah.
It's like your second home.
Yeah.
But yeah, and a lot of people do move on and all that. But I was there for a long time, like 7 years, man.
Mate, that's huge.
7.5 now, because I went there for 6 months. It's just a long time, and it's not for me. It's not quick enough. But
yeah, it's a small place.
It's a very small place. It's very isolated, and I don't think
city of Perth anyway, not WA.
Have you been much
to Perth? I have. Yeah.
Were you there for soccer?
No, I'd go there for soccer, but I went there. I've been there a few times the last
nice.
couple of years with work and stuff.
Yeah, not a lot of people have been there. Oh yeah, I'll go there. It's like I always said to my mates, and it's expensive. Like it's not cheap. I remember my mates that were going through uni early days, all working.
Yeah.
You almost had to cough up $1,000 just to get there and back, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of people wouldn't do it. And which is sad because it is a beautiful place, and I reckon Perth people like it that way.
I think they do.
And that's on them. But yeah, it's I've always said do 2 weeks in Perth, you can do a lot. You know? 2 weeks is plenty. I reckon you can do a lot in 2 weeks, but it's beautiful. Some of the beaches and places that hidden gems over there. It's an amazing place.
Fuck man, I always wondered about like living there because when I go there, I used to love it, but I always think like if you can walk the CBD in a short period of time, then it kind of tells you the rest of the
CBD.
site.
It's almost you don't want to go for that reason.
Nah, it's tiny.
It's the coast. It's a coastal.
beast.
It's all about the coast for me. Like and obviously down south, there's wineries and all that kind of stuff that I haven't really tapped into. I reckon that's more when you've got a missus and you're settled.
That's not the Traino way, mate.
No, I've done a couple, but it's a bit like I haven't got a missus and everyone else has. What am I doing here?
Yeah.
Have some more cheese.
Maybe we should have how old are you?
28.
Maybe we should. That's a podcast. 28 and single.
Yeah,
we'll just run with that.
Well, the 28-year-old male Instagram page gets a flogging.
Yeah.
Can relate to every post.
Yeah, I can imagine. Oh gosh.
But yeah, great place. Highly recommend it. And they do know how to throw a party. I think Perth's a bit like, I don't know, like hermit crabs or whatever you want to call them, but they just hide in winter, and in summer they're everywhere.
Really?
Yeah, everyone's out and about. Everyone's having a good time. In winter, don't know where they were hiding, but they're nowhere.
What's that? What's the party they have there? I think you might have been there. Is why I'm asking this, but it's one where they kind of connect all the boats. I don't know if it's at Cottesloe or they kind of have like this ring of boats. Well, you were definitely on a boats party.
Well, they do raft ups. They do like raft ups all the time. So everyone,
mate, that looked like you were on one because everyone was drinking the. What are they called? The
vodka soda ends.
Vodka soda ends, and then the Rixes were on and everything. It was
big shout out to the boys at Vodka Soda End. I always stuff that up. I always go vodka and soda, but
that's what I was about to say. I'm glad you corrected me.
They're awesome. The drinks are epic, and we've done a fair few things with them for work. But we literally just threw a party. They supplied the the cans and we got the sunnies out and we had this big boat party. And to be honest, it was my last week and I was like, I want to do this regardless.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
It was epic, mate. Like it was quite funny. We organised it. And that was all the boys were finished footy. So like I kind of said, right, I've got a boat party. All you need to bring is literally your sunnies and wear your clothes or whatever. It's going to be on a boat all day. And
you're supplying the alcohol or whatever.
Yeah, we had all the drinks on ice the night before, and the boys that like literally had their boats. It was a full operation, and it stressed my business partner out. I know that he aged a year just organising the boats because it was a full on like process, like 3 boats. Some of them didn't know each other.
Right, okay.
But they all anyway. What happened was I had to plan where people were getting on each boat because obviously there's a capacity for certain boats, and obviously different people don't know each other. So just doing that alone and making sure everyone's on time. And when the boat goes, it's it. Like you can't go back and get them.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, we had a spot that we pulled up on, but the funniest thing was one of the boys who had the bigger boat. Majority of us got on that. And I think we told him it was like,
what, you just shafted the little boats and go?
No, the little boats were. I think we over invited. So anyway, I'm late as per like me and Brando Matera and his missus, and they picked me up and we were heading in, and the boat that we were getting on was at capacity by about it was already 5 people over, right?
Yeah,
there was 5 of us, and there was about like my business partner's sister Tegan and Jacinta and all their friends there. They've rolled in with about 12 girls, and all of a sudden they're like, surely they're not getting in. So like, there's this footage of us on the boat on the river.
You're joking.
There's a lot of people. There's only 40 plus on this boat. We nearly sunk before we got there.
I reckon I saw stories of this, and I'm like, this looks like, there was like 5 people sitting on the back of it. Yeah.
Sardines. And one of the boys that owns the boat's like, mate, we need to get out of here.
Yeah, really?
We're going to sink or get really in big trouble here. So
mate,
we got there, we evened up the weight on each boat, and off we went, and it was a great day, and I want to do it again. It'd be good to do it here. You're just a bit unpredictable with the weather.
That's true. Well, Tommy the party planner, because it's a good segue into a little bit of the next segment, because we're actually going, well, we're not going to the Super Bowl, but we're going to watch the Super Bowl together next week. So for those tuning in, the Unlaced podcast, American Aces, which we'll touch on later in this podcast to give you a bit of context of Tommy's pod and what he's doing over there, we're going to create a bit of a Super Bowl vlog. So you're going to see the behind the scenes of us watching the Super Bowl, which is going to be a bit of fun. But I'm hoping you're going off what you're saying. I hope you haven't planned that day, because that could be a bigger day than anticipated. Yeah,
it will be a big day. I've got a lot of our mates are coming. It's at the Ascot Vale Hotel. So anyone that wants to watch the game, I think they've got a few more tickets, and they said just to Instagram message them, so slide in the DMs there and organise a table if there's any available. Yeah, so we're going there to watch it. It'll be a great day. I truthfully don't know who's going to win. Rams are obviously favourites, but you can't write off Joe Burrow and the boys. And I'm really excited, mate. 2 really good stories. Regardless of who wins, everyone's going to be happy. There's no real villain. Yeah. So it's a bit of a weird one. I don't really. Normally, I'm like, I want them to win. Yeah. I've got no idea.
You're split.
Yeah, I've got a soft spot for Odell Beckham, obviously, and then I've got this soft spot for the Bengals because they've never won one before. Yeah,
Burrows just seems like a good bloke as well, doesn't he?
He looks like the next Tom Brady, to be honest. He's so composed. He's so measured. He's very much a winner.
That's crazy.
And he's gone against, like his journey through college into the NFL. Even last year, mate, you should see how he banged his knee up. Like, he had a severe knee injury.
Really?
He's just come back and just taken him straight to the field. This guy is a weapon.
He's the real deal.
He's the real deal, man.
Oh, I can't wait.
And people just keep what he's done in the playoffs so far. To beat the Chiefs at Arrowhead, which is the loudest crowd in the NFL, they believe, and being behind by however many points. I think it might have been 9. It was ridiculous. Yeah, 19 points behind.
It was 22 or something. It might
19 behind, I think, man. And
someone placed a $200K bet on. To win 10 grand or something and lost.
Yeah.
When they were up at the maximum point they were
What's the point of that?
Yeah, well, I don't know. He thought it was just a shoe-in, obviously, but clearly it'll be in the gutter somewhere.
On the flip side, someone put $20, I think, in America, I saw, on the exact game total. So like the exact scores.
Combined.
So like I think whatever the scores were, I think they were like
27, 24, 20.
Whatever it was. Yeah, 27, 24. And then it was whatever it was. And then the Rams game was like 2017. He's put that $20 bonus bet into both of them, and he's got up and won like $750K. Something ridiculous.
The feel good stories.
Get around that.
Where did you get into, like, because you do a bit of documenting on this, and we'll go into it. But where did you get into your love for professional sports, particularly American ones? Because every time I've caught up with you recently, you're talking NBA, you're talking NFL. Where did that fascination come from?
I've always loved sport, loved NBA, played basketball growing up, not at a high level because footy took over. But when being at a footy club, I reckon the older guys love NFL. And I got into it through Zach Dawson. Actually, was really big on it. And I used to pick his brain about why, and it was an interesting game. So then, when I started the Ricks eyewear brand, obviously we had a connection over there to my mate now, Eric Decker, who his wife was doing some swimwear work with a friend in Perth, who's the local designer there, and they hooked us up. And he was playing for the New York Jets as a wide receiver, marquee player. It was just incredible. So we met him, me and my mates. Like, one of my mates had never left the country before. And I'm like, mate, we're going to the Jets facility on Wednesday. Make sure we're all ready to go. So we went out there. Another two mates, Jono and Liam. And all three of us, all four of us went to the facility, not knowing what to expect, to be honest. Like, I know how it works when you have a facility tour, to be honest. Sometimes you're like, oh, I can't be, you're like, it's your day off or something. Not that I'd be like, but some players can be like that.
Yeah.
If it felt like a chore, and he was amazing, mate. He took us for like this.
Is he American?
Yeah, he is.
He's American.
Yeah.
Okay.
I actually did a podcast with him.
I was about to say, right? You had him on your
my
potty.
Tommy Talks. Yeah,
Okay.
did a 2-part series because I spoke about his journey, and he was at the Broncos and Jets and Titans at the end, and ended up did a 2-week preseason with the Patriots and Brady, and just before Brady and Belichick split. But so check that out if you're an NFL fan, because it's really good. Like, we have an awesome chat. It went for so long. I could have.
What's this on, Oz American Aces?
Yeah, go to Oz American Aces and then Tommy Talks. Eric Decker, part 1 and 2. Anyway, and he showed us around. I brought like a Freo jersey and a footy, and he decked us out. Mate, the difference between AFL and NFL, it is so funny. He's like to the property guys, hey, sort the boys out, like next minute we're like, just click your fingers and we're wearing all this dark green Jets kit. It was unreal. Like, if I asked the bloke at Freo, hey, get stuff, mate. Got a budget here, mate.
Yeah, can do it yourself.
Got one bloody hat left.
Yeah. You got to pay for it.
Yeah, go pay for it. Go to the team store, you dog.
That's insane.
Anyway, he took us for a tour. The New York Jets facility is unbelievable.
Really?
Inside, indoor gyms, indoor and outdoor fields. They had this players area. It was epic, man. Like, we walked in the players lounge, and there was actually, like, I didn't know the game that well. So if I knew now, there's actually some big dogs playing like PlayStation in there.
Oh, so you didn't know who they were, the
Nah,
personalities?
couldn't really see them. Introduced and said g'day. They weren't. I loved like the offense more than defense at the time. Now I love everything, but so I didn't recognize them. But they were big dudes, and they're sitting down just like playing PlayStation. And it was funny, like a little story. We walked in, and it was a pretty smaller room. I thought it'd be a bit bigger, to be honest, but it was like a full blown players lounge. Like, had everything in it, right?
And you guys are somehow in there.
He just
Some scrawny boys from Oz.
Yeah. Man, I was 21.
That's ridiculous.
And anyway, and there was an ATM on the right, and I was like, the fuck? It's like, what, mate? I'll go text. What was there an ATM? He's like, got to pay up when you lose your bets. So like, these folks play PlayStation and ping pong and all this stuff, and
They've put an ATM in there.
I play cards, and they're like, yeah, you lose your bet, you can pay up.
No shorting that change.
Yeah,
that's gold,
so,
man.
that was a funny one, and yeah, man, just the tour, and then to finish off, that he was playing that Sunday, he got us tickets, and we went to the game, and mate, he scored the first touchdown, and they won. It was just unbelievable.
And then from there,
we kept their contact. He got injured the next year. I went again. He got some tickets. Then we went to the Titans game. He got cut, then got picked up. Went to the Tennessee Titans. His missus is from Nashville. She's a huge singer, country singer. Anyway, so he moved there. They did a year there. We went to Austin City Limits Music Festival, me and 3 boys. We ended up going to the game Monday night. He's hooked us up in the box. It was fucking
No way.
Yeah, man. He's a
legend.
Yeah, and we're like good mates. I'm looking forward to catching up, and he's doing some really cool things now, and mate, just a really good person.
Yeah,
is how I put it.
What do you for you when you watch the game of NFL? Because like people talk about with footy, they love like the fierceness, the toughness, or the specific like the strategy around it. Like for you, what's it about the NFL? Because it is pretty stop-start for the average viewer. And if you don't really understand the strategy of what's going on.
Yeah, it's a great question. It's like a chess match.
Yeah.
It is very important week to week. I think there's games, NBA, you see it all the time. They rest, they blah, blah, blah. AFL's a long season as well. You know, if you shorten that season, these games are going to be quicker, bigger hits, all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
In NFL, it's explosive athletes. Repetition after repetition. There's they get a lot of, you know what it's like when you have just one effort and then you chill and then go again. I love it. And it's do or die every week. Week one, you must, you don't want to lose the first couple. So every week just matters. And I just love it, man. They're such premium athletes. They are unbelievable. You look at Tyreek Hill, if you don't know who he is, he's a wide receiver at the Chiefs. Most people would if they're NFL fans. He's so quick. You know what I mean? I think he's become third or fourth to Bolt in a final.
I was going to say this is the level of athleticism. Some of the running backs or wide receivers, they could be Olympic athletes.
They do train. A lot of them
they're
are
actually
track
some
athletes.
of them have the qualifying times to go to the Olympics and stuff.
Yeah. And they're positional. This is where I think AFL could take a leaf. The positional training they have is there's wide receivers, there's tight ends, there's running backs. They obviously would do different training programs. They've got different coaches specifically for their skills, and I like that.
Me too. Specific training for your position.
I think in football they should do more of that. Like a midfield coach just trains the midfield, but inside beast, outside, ruckman. There's a ruck coach, but I've never had a wingman specific coach. You know what I mean? You got the midfield coach looking at the inside and outside. Imagine you had just one going bang.
That's crazy.
And you would that player would become much better because
changes your whole perspective.
It does. So I like the way the NFL's run. There's a lot of drama involved. It's there's always something going on. It's a big business. And
one of the things that amazes me about it is I think it's the equivalent of the AFLPA there, but it's
the NFLPA.
The NFLPA is renowned for being one of the worst. In the sense of, I don't think if you have an injury, your contract's not guaranteed. Whereas I don't know how true that is, but there's stories of people that have broken their ankle, they've signed a 5-year, $60 million deal or something. It's you can't play.
I don't know. It's hard for me to comment on that, but I know they're the concussion CTE stuff. Excuse me, my eyes going here, but the CTE stuff was huge. There's even a movie about it.
Yeah.
It's called Concussion, I think.
Yeah. Was it Will Smith?
Yeah, that's really, it's really, they're doing a lot of things now because of all the research. But yeah, man, the contracts are becoming more guaranteed. But I spoke to Ben Graham, former Aussie,
Punter,
AFL legend and punter over there, NFL, one of our best. And we sat down on my Tommy Talks. It was one of my first shows, and we spoke about it. And it is so cutthroat. You think he got cut as he was the leadership. He was in the leadership group. He's one of the skippers on special teams, gun punter. He was saying that one week he's in New York. He's on the what are they called? The Sesame Street. There's a big show, and he was the pin-up boy on there. There was 3 of them. Next week he's getting cut. Because he fucked a punt.
Mate.
It's just bizarre. And then you're on the streets, and you got to do tryouts, and unless you're the star,
it's hustle and bustle.
And it's like anything. Everyone thinks, you guys are dominating. The guns get paid well. The rest are grinded, man.
Yeah.
And these guys do grind, and they've got to grind at a really elite level. Because if you have a couple of games off, it's next man up.
Yeah, man. What do you think of Brady? Did that shock you? Did you expect him to?
Naturally, I was flat. Selfishly, I was flat. Obviously,
are you a big Brady guy? I mean, everyone kind of is, but some people Patriots
really
is
appreciate what he does. I think a lot of people hate greatness.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it. I love seeing him. I want him to play forever. People hate seeing him obviously do well, but I love it because I just think he's just so good to watch. He's so smart, you know.
Yeah, hyper intelligent.
He just
good with people too.
He's just older than all the coaches. These coaches coming on, not older than all of them, but the ones that are in the Super Bowl, they're 36 and 38. What's Brady? 40?
Yeah, 40 something. Early
45,
40s.
He's got 6 and 8 years on these guys as a quarterback. He sees things that people don't, and he can just run the whole offense. It's unbelievable, mate. If he didn't have the family commitments and all that stuff that he wants to do, he could play for a few more years as long as they protect him.
Do you know his draft story? Obviously you probably know his draft pick.
Yeah.
But because I think he played baseball as well, but he was more into NFL, and that was his kind of jam. But then obviously draft day happened, and he thought he was going to get picked up, and apparently obviously round 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 go by. He hasn't been picked up. Round 6 comes, pick 199. And prior to this like pick coming, it was like towards the latter rounds. He thought like I'm not going to get picked.
Yeah, his story is incredible.
And he went in. So he went in, and took a baseball, and went to the like hitting area. He's like stuff this, and then like got a phone call that you've been picked up by the Patriots.
Yeah,
and he's the greatest player ever. Seven Super Bowls, 5 MVPs of the Super Bowls, and then like 3-time MVP of the NFL season. That's mental.
He just more the rings. Like what he did last year. New team, come in, bang.
Yeah, I know.
Come on, man.
That's what that almost like validated it, didn't it? Because everyone's like, oh, it's the Belichick effect. It's a Patriots culture, and then he's just like literally.
He's just gone bang, and obviously they've loaded up the offense and that, but
yeah,
and the defense as well. But yeah, he's done really well, and he's just launched a clothing brand which I've been loving watching. Like he's got that Brady brand.
Oh, it's a Brady brand.
Yeah, and it's really slick. Like it's beautiful. He's done it well.
That's amazing.
It's premium. His marketing's spot on. He's
really?
used college athletes in the marketing and in all the content photo shoots, and it looks like I want to buy a hoodie. Yeah. I want to buy one. Yeah, it looks sick. I'm waiting for the white one to come out.
With Brady, like for you mentioned his like personality and being smart, which probably made him unique. But I saw you post it. It was because you posted it is why I watched it. But his doco, what was it called? Brady? I think it was called Brady.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah, but there was the one on Fox.
The one he just released.
Yeah, it was like a 6-episode thing, and he gets shows from like winning
10-part series. I think it is. All about his Super Bowls.
What'd you make of that?
Incredible.
Yeah.
He just sits down, and I was hoping there'd be one more, to be honest.
Yeah.
I was hoping this year would be just one more episode. I reckon he was filming for it. I don't know if he's going to release finished, but mate, it's incredible insight. I wasn't around or watching, back in 2004 or whatever it was when he started his first, second year. But to see what goes on behind the scenes and to see what he speaks about, it's incredible. It's incredible insight. And and I'd love to see it more in Australian sport.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the conversations and things that were going on in the Melbourne locker room from the start of the year to the end of the year, and then being able to sit down with these people at the end and talk about how'd you feel in that moment, what was discussed. It's awesome. And to be able to reflect, for him, he's sat down with key personnel in each Super Bowl and spoken about those, those moments and those players that really made a lot of impact and to get their insight as well that I didn't really know about.
Yeah, which is, for me, that was interesting. Like some of them just won one. They've been one of his armor, or one of his titles essentially. But they talk about like the Brady effect, and then they're like so pivotal in winning that just one. And it makes you think like he must just have an influence on people as well, Belichick or whatever it is.
Yeah, and just like there's a few plays that, you're talking like centimeter. Just the biggest one was against Atlanta. I think it was 2017. That comeback. That is
famous comeback.
It's just off its head.
Yeah.
And to then watch the doco and see how he speaks about the plays and this and that and what you were thinking, and mate,
he's an immortal.
Yeah, he's great. He's one. Yeah,
well,
we've never seen anyone like it.
We're gonna save. We've got a big NFL chat coming, guys, and actually, it'll already be out now. So for those, if you want to hear Tommy and I talk a bit more about NFL with a couple more of our mates, Josh Dunkley and Hayden Crozier, we're going to be on American Aces platform talking the Super Bowl, which might have had a result, but we'll definitely be talking NFL in general. So if you're an NFL person, get on that and give that a listen because that's just been released. So it'll be it's a cracking chat filled with lots of stories, lots of fun. It ties me into actually American Aces because that's a bit of something we've been speaking about and you've been talking about sort of what you're building there. But can you give us a bit of background into that and that space of, because you love creating content like I do, which is where we kind of see eye to eye on that, I guess.
Yeah, so when I was in Perth, I was American Aces. So Australian and Americans kind of how I merged that in and Aces means to be good at something or sport and created that. And that's the sports club. And then underneath that, I'll start doing heaps of shows and speaking to cool people and getting anything to do with sport. Being in sport was quite a privilege. And there's a lot of people I've met that I'd love everyone else to hear. And when you think about sport, you think maybe the athletes or the coaches, but there's a lot of other people, that behind the scenes that help, whether it's a mindset coach, specialists in their field, businessmen, and how they all correlate to being great. I want to sit down with those people and bring that to the audience and bring everyone, we want to bring everyone along for the ride. And NFL's been the first part of it. I really wanted to hone in on that, and we've
Yeah.
spoken to NFL players.
Which is flying, by the way.
Yeah, yeah.
You become the NFL guru.
Well, I love it. I love
Literally.
it. And we're going to go to NBA, and then we're going to go AFL and
Yeah.
golf and F1 when we get the chance to sit down with all these just weapons. I love it. I love sport. So I started that. I think we did season 1, 8 episodes, a mixture of, AFL players. Like we spoke to Dunks and Croz, who we're going to have on tonight. Obviously, this one will be out afterwards, so check it out. But yeah, at Cap's store in High Point, and we're going to sit down. But the last time I spoke with them was before the AFL Granny.
Right.
With Stephen May, who they were playing against each other.
That's
so it was,
right. I remember that.
Yeah, so that was a bit of its first of its kind. Not many people have done that.
No, that
And
was cool.
Yeah, it was cool, and it was good to see the boys. They took it really well. They love it. They're chill. May the best man win.
Yeah.
We shot it early in the week, and
There's a few little digs in there, though, from memory.
yeah,
There's a few little slight
yeah,
comments,
like,
which are great.
it's
Like,
you got the medal on the line, and
Yeah.
that was awesome, and we'll do that again. And yeah, I love that. It was really difficult over in Perth. I feel like much more settled over here. There's probably but that started with a few of the boys there, and then obviously the NFL stuff. There's a lot of people that love NFL.
yeah.
So just try to hone in on that little community, and that'll finish next week, the big Super Bowl.
Wow. And
And once that's done, then on to the next thing, which will be
AFL's coming up.
AFL's coming up, NBA for the
Yeah,
sport,
playoffs and all that.
So created that, and just really keen to get in the podcast space. I've always wanted to be in it. I just haven't had the team
Yeah.
consistently around me, so it's been good and we'll be doing a lot of work together.
Yeah, bloody oath. It's going to be big, mate. It's going to be big. You're a natural. But one of my favourite parts about particularly the Perth ones, I wonder if you continue it, was your intro to the podcast. It was like, who's coming through the door? Like a bloody episode of Entourage or Seinfeld. And then you have this gangster music, the high fives, ascensions. And then they're sitting on the couch and like Tommy Sheridan, mate. It's unbelievable. Was that your idea?
Yeah, well, I like that whole vibe.
The theatre behind it all.
It's getting
It's
better.
cool,
Yeah. Especially when Mad
Heath, you're going to have to brace yourself for this, mate.
Especially when Big Mad Jack Door walks in, I go, fuck, do that again, man. Come on.
Oh, gosh.
But yeah, and that wasn't my mate's apartment. So
Yeah, I know. Well, because this
that's how grim it. I was like, literally, my mates are at training. I'm borrowing their lounge room as the apartment.
Yeah, I know. Well, you've got a podcast operation up, which is great. But I know when you were coming back, it was like your number one priority. It's like, how do we get this stood up? And we have a good friend here that you had a conversation with, the Chronicles of Pete. Now, everyone knows 2021 was a year of Pete Camilleri, the producer of the show. He's done so much great stuff that does go a little bit unsung, but not behind closed doors. But definitely the blunders get spoken out loud into the public, as they should. And Tommy, mate, you want to share us about that experience? Because I flicked over your number.
Yeah, you did. I was searching far and wide. I go, I need a producer. And I called the great man, and I go, man, it's Tommy from the Unlaced. He goes, who?
He's like, mate, I've met you before. I was on show 20 something, I was there.
Yeah, and
we had a conversation.
I think I said, Pete, I've got this big name in America. I need to do one this week. And he goes, mate, I'm not available for 4 weeks.
Oh, Pete, mate.
No mayo on that either, Pete.
Yeah, no, mate. Did you get his name right? I heard you might have called him Timmy.
I think it was Tim Tams. He called me. No, I'm only joking. Pete was great. We our dates didn't align. So yeah, he's a great man. And yeah, that's like I said, I was looking for people, and Heath over in the corner there, but he'll help us out. I'm looking forward to getting stuck. Pretty much just using your team. I should have. You should be getting
mate, no,
you should get commission here.
Mate, I love my team. They're great.
They're awesome.
They can expand. They've got the motivation.
And they
the
really
people.
are. And shout out to Ethan and Pete and everyone else out there. The creatives behind the scenes, putting this stuff
so
together. That was
important.
what really was bringing me undone in Perth. Like I had people helping me out from a freelance point of view, and they're amazing. But it is so hard.
It's hard work, man.
And anyone that's in this space, like, love your work. Love it. Want to hear about it. It's hard work. And the energy to kind of, like I've got a really strong vision, but if you don't all understand it, you want to work with someone every day so you can kind of just make those little gains and enhance the product, more like how it looks visually for everyone else and sounds. So that was quite difficult when I was doing it in Perth with, as I said to you, no studio, no consistent producer, guests on the fly, trying to nail the times and all that kind of stuff, and then doing your research.
I remember after your first episode, you put up a story and you're like, shout out to anyone who's doing a podcast. Fucking hard work.
Well, more with video as well.
Yeah, the collateral behind it too.
And then the worst
you don't
part
have support. It's very hard.
I've launched Tommy Talks, and then some bloke in Scotland, some ex-buddy.
His name was
Tommy. No, my goodness. obviously like Osmerican Aces is the main name, but
Yeah,
Tommy Talks, everyone was going to his. Or
That's right. There was a blunder on day one.
Some bald Scottish guy's just launched his pod called
He's got
Tommy
a few
Talks.
subscribers out of nowhere.
Oh, I was losing it. And then people are messaging me going, "Is this yours?"
Yeah, mate, it's the design. It's
I mean,
the backdrop.
Come on. So yeah, that was a funny one.
That was gold. That was gold. Now, I'm going to talk some footy with you, but before I do, anyone who tuned into last week's episode knows that if you listen to the whole thing, which it is a great episode, we get into some really cool stuff towards the end. I finished off the episode by letting the guests know that all guests this year on the Unlaced podcast, they're not going to leave empty-handed. And what I mean by that is our good friends over at Rick's, i.e. Tommy and Co., are going to be supplying our guests with some pretty cool sunnies. Now, we're actually rocking some Rick's apparel, which I think from the last time we spoke, it was non-existent. So it's a relatively new development and feature to the Rick's brand. So, mate, I actually bought this. And I bought this off the folks listening. Remember, there is a discount code out there, Unlaced, ricks.com.au, rickseyewear.com.au. Get the Unlaced code in, get some sunnies. They're unreal. There's always different sales going on, always new designs coming out and features. So it's a good time to get them. But this top, mate, it's unreal.
Yeah.
The leisure green.
Thank you, mate. Yeah, that one's quite popular. And I've got like the staple one on. And that's something that we've just done new when I was over there. Before I keep going, mate, by the way, you know the big fella doesn't come on empty-handed.
Oh, no, he has not again.
So the Orbits are your favourite. And because you're wearing green, these are the new crystal.
What are these?
These are the mint crystal.
Look at these.
Orbits.
There we go.
So throw them on, mate. But
Look at this, the boxing as well, mate, eh?
yeah, it's all about the experience. You know how it is.
Wow,
So
might
they're
have to
the
take me.
they're the brand new Orbits that we've just released. And anyone else out there that wants some summer shades, head to rickseyewear.com.au and use your code, the
Look
Unlaced.
at these, mate. We're back again, Pete.
They're nice.
How
eh?
good are
They're
these?
nice. I love them. And, mate, we did something new. Yeah, we're doing a bit of clothing and we just put out a little collection, our leisure collection. And that one's really nice. I sat down. Mate, the process of doing that was thorough. Like, I'm backing myself to the...
Really?
I spent 2 months on it with one of the guys in... a guy in Perth, and even the brief was with someone else. I want to make sure the process was spot on because it was a new product for us and for me, and a lot of thought went into it. And we did a little bit of a classics and a leisure and a resort series, and the leisure was probably the most popular.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Because the resorts, because that's the one I was looking at too. It's the light blue kind of print, but similar kind of colour.
So there's like a resort series, more like that poolside type vibe, leisure. Good for anywhere, as you can see on the t-shirt, and then the classics, which is just staples in your black and white tees, which is what I've got on.
Yeah.
And truthfully, didn't know how
it'd
go or what people would like, and that one that you're wearing is the most popular.
That's sick.
So you got good taste.
I do have good taste. There we go. Well, apparently like everyone else's. But what are these ones? What are these ones called?
They're called the Orbits.
Orbits.
And they're mint crystal.
Mint crystal.
So
Do you
I
look
say,
at these?
they look mint.
Mate, that's awesome. Appreciate that. Thank you very much.
No, pleasure,
Very
mate.
nice to see. So they're our guests. We're going to be getting these guys. Maybe we'll have to do a bit of a raffle off with some of our subscribers through the year. We'll get some winners on Rick's if you tag some friends in some stuff. We'll think of something pretty cool to engage everyone and give everyone an opportunity. But if you do want to check them out, the discount code Unlaced, get on there. The footy season, we had a good chat around. I reckon when you came on, it was close-ish. It would have been the season was well underway. So we're having a good chat about it, but a bit of a season review from last year. You obviously had probably good seats at most games, given most of the games started to migrate to Perth at the point end of the season. But how do you find it overall?
Yeah, it was done really well. Perth dominated. Optus Stadium was humming, and the grand final was epic, man.
Did you go?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, the Giants boys, a lot of people couldn't go because of Perth, so they
Right.
couldn't get in. So, I think Dave Matthews he's the CEO of the Giants, great man, had a table and for like the big dogs, and none of them could get there. So I think they were like, who can go? And old Tommy boy's sitting in
Of course he is.
sitting in the box seat.
Tommy finds a seat at every table.
So Timmy Taranto and Sammy Taylor and I think Bobby Hill, we roll in, had to wear a suit. So we suited up, and I've rolled in, and it's in like the who's type, like it was the big dog room. So I shouldn't have been in there. And as I sat down, I'm sitting next to Aaron Sanderlands is on the table next to me, which we're really good mates with, and Shawnee McManus, who's a Freo legend.
Yep.
I was on his table, so it worked out perfectly. And yeah, mate, the beers were free and it was flowing, and the game was really good. I know it was a blowout late, but
was
Just
close for like
mate,
the
it was
first
a
half was really good.
cracker.
Chalor kicked a couple and then it was like back in the
Live,
game.
like
yeah.
obviously a few beers, but live, like middle of the third, you didn't know where it was going.
Yeah.
Because dogs were up, I think, at half time.
Yeah,
Yep. It was an incredible game, and it was very entertaining. And then it just
Just
the days
erupted, didn't it?
went crazy late. But mate, it was the entertainment. Perth dominated the light shows.
It was awesome.
And they did a really good job.
I think I had I've had a couple of people on this show, but like a couple of the Collingwood boys have said, because I asked them like, what's the most intimidating away ground? They never said it was intimidating, but they just like to play there. Particularly, they did say against West Coast, but the lighting at Optus and like the way they play the music. I think West Coast play like this Wolf Mother song before players come out.
Yeah,
and they're like, it's just electric. Like it's just the stadium's just glowing.
Yeah, it's a new stadium as well, so I think the sound's really good. Night games, they put their colours on and the light shows and all that. Yeah, and Freo, like I haven't been in many West Coast games, to be honest.
Yeah, of course.
But you watch them on TV, and it's a home crowd. There's not many others there, so it is hard to play. They reckon.
Yeah.
But yeah, the grand final and the final series was really good. It was packed out, man.
Did you pick? Were you surprised by Melbourne doing what they did? Because I think they minor premiers, weren't they?
Yeah. I wasn't surprised
because you were pretty bullish. I think you were pretty bullish on Geelong.
Yeah.
Were you pretty confident in them?
Yeah,
I
was at the
heard
start of the year. They had a lot of injuries, Geelong, though.
Yeah.
A lot of injuries, and then they I went to the game. I think the prelim. They got smoked from memory.
Yeah, I can't. Who was that against? Was it
the
Demons?
Yeah. I think it was Maxi Gorn show. That one. He went off. Yeah, that was my tip at the start of the year.
Yeah.
So not bad, top 4.
Yeah, top 4.
But the granny, I had no idea. The way the
Yeah.
Dogs played in the
Yeah, either did
prelim, I was like, wow, because I rated Port high, like right.
They
up
beat
there.
him in Adelaide, didn't they?
They really smashed them.
Yeah.
And I really rate Port, so I was like, oh mate, the Dogs are humming,
Yeah.
and then the D's are humming. I'm like, this is gonna be a cracker. I couldn't split them.
Yeah.
And then I don't even know who I tipped. I don't think I did. I think I sat in the fence. I didn't regard who you tip. Because I had mates both sides. I didn't really want to. I wasn't really going for anyone. I was just supporting my mates.
Yeah.
And the boys that were playing that I knew, and the best team won.
Mate, exciting. Well, I've got a few questions for you for this year because we're coming up to the season. This kicks off in like over a month, end of March. Yeah, it's coming
quick, isn't it?
It's come quick. Yeah. We'll go into a quick little segment, but who do you see as the big improvers? Carlton.
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah, big on them.
Michael Voss coming straight in. Is it
More
the
than
Voss effect or the List effect?
No disrespect to Vossi, he'll be huge, no doubt. But just purely on playing group, I just think their midfield's going to get going.
Yes.
I'm going to put it out there. My best bet is them making finals. Is there a market there? Get on it.
Really?
I think they'll play finals this year. I know everyone's going to go, oh yeah, no. I think they're the real.
Did people say this about them last year? Though,
I don't know, man. I don't get involved in the external stuff.
Yeah, so you
kind of just have an opinion, and my opinion is, if they're fit and healthy, I love their list.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, that's a good list. Yeah.
I like their midfield. I like their keys. I think they'll do really well.
So Carlton, he thinks are the big improvers. Who do you think is going to be sliding down from last season? Who could have the biggest drop off?
Oh, I don't think negatively like that. My brain doesn't.
You're just thinking upscale, aren't you?
I'm thinking positively, and I'm thinking up. Great question.
It is a tough one because someone's going to have to if Carlton are coming in. I even think, the Saints. Who knows with them? What type of year they're going to have? Tigers are probably going to pick it up.
Yeah, it's going to be even. That's what the AFL is trying to do now, isn't it?
It is. It is much more even.
One thing I will say, because I'm a Freo fan as well, is they're going to, and West Coast, they're going to come to Melbourne and probably in hubs.
Yeah.
So I feel like they've got the most. They're up against it a bit. If that happens, there goes your home. Unless they give them all the home games at the back.
Yeah.
But Perth hasn't opened the borders yet.
Yeah.
So if they're in Melbourne for the whole
issue.
season, then that becomes the issue for me.
Yeah.
Other than that, I've got no idea.
Well, this might test you then because you think positively. Are Gold Coast going to get off the bottom like the Wooden Spooners?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I like what they're doing, and they need to.
Yeah, they need to.
They need to, and they got to. Yeah, they need to.
They need to keep Ben King. That's what they need to do.
Yeah.
If he goes, that's going to be.
His brother needs to join him, I reckon.
Yeah. Oh well, Maxi, mate, the Sainers.
Got a couple of mates there, so I'd love to see the boys. I'd love to see the Suns going, and they will. They got good players there, and they could come out in the blocks and explode.
Yeah, they could.
So,
if they get Rao will hopefully stay fit. That'll be
midfield stacked. They moved a few players, more opportunity for other players.
Yeah.
Excited to see the Suns.
Who individually do you think is going to have who's Brownlow-esque for you?
Ooh, Brownlow's always a
Because
famous question, isn't
you got
it?
the Petracchis, you got the Bontempellis, you
I
got
like
the obvious names.
Sammy Walsh that just signed
Sammy
a big
Walsh
deal
is-
today. Walshy's a gun,
He's a superstar.
and you can't keep up with him because he's fitter.
I
So
know.
if he wins his own ball, which he does, I know Pete over there is getting a bit excited. While I
Yeah,
talk
geez,
about
it's like Carlton heavy, this, Pete.
yeah, I
You
know.
paid him a little bit, haven't you? I think he's feeling bad for the
I'll take-
rain we gave you earlier.
I'll
Just
take the cash as well. Pete. Yeah, I like Walshy for a Brownlow.
All right. Well, this is more your sanctum, right? Because we're going to go top 4 and then a winner. So who do you what's your top 4? Tommy Sheridan's top 4. Tommy's tips.
Gee whiz,
This
without
is-
much preparation.
You don't need much.
Give me Melbourne.
Yeah. You sticking with Geelong or are they sliding now?
I'm going to
Getting
stick
older.
with Port.
Port, got to be.
Okay, so Melbourne, Port. I'm going to go with Brisbane,
Brisbane. Yeah. They've been consistent.
and then I think I'd go the Bulldogs again.
Bulldogs. Wow. Oh, you said that one with a bit of like a...
No, they're young, but they're good.
They're just so good.
Nah, the Dogs will be up there. And then, but the thing is, like, when I was saying that, I was like, far out. There's a little bit of a, you're a bit disrespectful to a few other teams there, Geelong and Richmond and the rest of them. But
Yeah.
who knows? Honestly, got no idea.
There's a lot.
It's a good
yeah.
question. It's early in the year.
Oh, mate, it's part of the theatre of the sport.
If everyone's fit and healthy, who knows?
Yeah, I can see Melbourne going again.
Yeah,
They're that
it's the
good.
obvious selection, isn't it? But back-to-back's very rare.
It is. It is. Well, Tommy Sheridan, folks, the train. He's brought it all today. Bucks parties, Rick Syware, the NFL expert, the guru, talking footy. It's been an absolute pleasure. If you are listening to this podcast, like I love you for doing so, get on American Aces. Check out Tommy Talks. He's got a whole bunch of stuff coming up. He's going to be flying content out the door this year. Our old mate Ethan's going to be working overtime and loving life, no doubt. But it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. And mate, yeah, absolute pleasure, mate. Thanks for coming on again. Thanks for the sunnies.
Jakey boy, it is a pleasure. I love talking to you, and I love what you do. And it'd be rude of me not to ask you a few questions, mate. What is the plan with the pod this year? Where are you going
Mate,
with it?
well, it's a good question. I did mention it briefly on the first podcast, but we want to do more consistent episodes. We want to do them with, like you sort of said, a variety of people around sport. We had like a couple of cool people on last year that I loved talking to.
Yeah.
That wasn't the obvious guest for us, which was, we had DJ Generic on. He's a massive Pies fan. So just getting his perspective on like, the blood, sweat and tears that he feels and like the anger he has that players can't share that a fan can. Then we had Jackie Lauder. She's one of the best sports psychologists going around. And she's the Melbourne Storm psych, the AFL women's at Collingwood and the AFL men's at Collingwood.
Just on her, what was the one thing that you took away from that? chat?
I posted this quote, and Jackie, I hope you're listening because you'll love this. She's an absolute legend. I actually went and saw her myself. I said this before, like when I came out of soccer. Because I saw this 4-part doco Collingwood. Ad Straw was speaking with her. It was about him. It just seemed so good. But she was talking about, I was like, because she's full-time. She's working so much more than anyone, but it's kind of like she's part-time across all the clubs.
Yeah.
So she divides her time because like she can't just go full-time. And the clubs, they're not allocating enough budget to give her, warranting just having her there full stop. And I was just trying to get her to justify to me why is her job so important at a pro level. And she referenced that, if you think of your best player at a footy club, and let's go with like her reference was Scott Pendlebury at Collingwood, for example. He's your Rolls Royce. If you're going to get a second-grade mechanic to deal with a Rolls Royce, you're going to get that result. And it's like you can't get a coach or someone around footy or someone that's maybe touched the space that she's been in for 15 years with the highest qualifications, worked all around to do what she does, because everything she says and does is with a purpose. And she's reading things that no one else can read to pick up to how to help them.
Yeah.
So now she's like, pretty much her door is just a revolving door at Storm and Collingwood, people just coming in. It's like becoming the norm. Like when you got drafted, when I was playing pro soccer, it was like, wasn't a thing, like it wasn't really a thing. But when she said that, she referenced the Rolls Royce. Like you need a Rolls Royce sort of, psychologist and person that's going to help that, because that's how pivotal is that to how they play. So
It is, and that relationship to be able to know what they've probably already spoken about, reminding them of all the things they're going through. Yeah,
correct. Yeah. So we're gonna get some more guests on like that. I want to get some more musicians on, like people around hip hop and stuff, which we've spoken to a few people around business in sport, but vlogs. Like, what we've spoken on.
I'm excited for that one.
Yeah, mate. I just want to do the Super Bowl vlog's going to be the first one of the year. We did one with Michael Zarafa in his corner last year, which was awesome. Shout out the pretty boy for that one. He's got his fight with Isaac Hardman. And then also, we did the food review with Dane Swan, which was the best thing ever.
Yeah.
So I just want to do more cool stuff like that. So,
it's
or
great.
Dwayne Swan, as Pete would call him.
Dwayne.
Yeah. So let's,
That's
we
great.
want to keep climbing the charts, keep getting everyone listening, and hopefully having fun.
I like the vlog, and I'm looking forward to it. I've never done one either, so I'm excited to do this Super Bowl one. And
Yeah.
let's hope it comes down to the last play and the pub's going wild. And
yeah.
everyone has the same bet on or something, and we all cash in and just carry on like pork chops. But no, mate, look, exciting. I can't wait to tune into them all. And thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure. We'll do more of these, and I'm looking forward to seeing Pistol and the Blue Baggers get up in the bet for you,
Here we
mate.
go, mate.
But yeah, thanks, mate. It's great, and I look forward to catching up.
Cheers,
the next
Traino.
one.
Pleasure, mate. Awesome.